Hey guys, Crossroads here. We're going to talk today about Tesla, specifically the $7,500 EV tax credit, which looks like it's going to go away. Now, this shouldn't be as much of a surprise. Donald Trump has talked about it as president elect a number of times. And when he is inaugurated in late January, that is when many people understand that he is going to be working towards getting this removed from the tax bill. Now, how would this work exactly? What would it mean for Tesla? We're going to look at that. But first, I want us to see what Elon Musk thinks of this, just to give us some context.
And we don't need the $7,500 tax credit. I would say, honestly, I would just can this whole bill. Don't pass it. That's my recommendation.
What about the support though for the charging network? I mean, there are parts of this bill and no.
No, I mean, do we need support for gas stations? We don't. So there's no need for this for support for a charging network. I would delete it. Delete.
Okay, all right.
I'm literally saying get rid of all subsidies. But also for oil and gas.
If you think about also how this affects your competitors, is that impact how some of your view on this?
I mean, maybe they need it. I don't know, but I think just generally, I'm in favor of deleting subsidies. I mean, when we started Tesla, there were no EV subsidies at all, and gasoline was super cheap. We did not anticipate any subsidies. That came later, and that came the $7,500 tax credit came as a result not of Tesla activity, but of General Motors lobbying for it. So I would just say just delete them all.
All right, but there's some other good things in this bill that some would argue. I mean, a lot of money earmarked for R&D. Would you want to put that towards something?
No.
Okay. All right. We're going to move on from the bill because I think we get what you're saying on it.
In general, we should just if we don't cut government spending, something really bad's going to happen. This is crazy. Our spending is so far in excess of revenue. It's insane. Like you could zero out all billionaires in the country. There's all this like anti-billionaire BS. If you zeroed out all the billionaires, you still wouldn't solve the deficit.
All right. So Musk himself is in favor, actually, of having that stripped away. He said, of course, it's not going to hurt Tesla, or rather, they didn't want this initially. It was a GM idea. What would the impact of that be? Now, of course, on other EV competition, it certainly would be crushing. They're struggling in the United States anyway with cells. And all of a sudden, having a $7,500 sticker price that's higher for most consumers, because a lot of people do qualify for this, that would actually retard sales. It would not be a great thing. Now, for Tesla itself, if that is the case, and then there are fewer EVs in the market, both because of tariffs and because of this, would that be net good for Tesla? I would say no, that's actually not the case. It's something that a lot of people I think are kind of missing is competition for Tesla at this point and at this stage is not with other EVs, at least here in the United States. As long as China isn't able to just drop, the BYD product here at the cost that they're doing, basically subsidizing over there, that would be impactful. But otherwise, they dominate EVs here in the United States. They've already won that competition, and in fact, they're able to monetize much of their competition just because of the NACS, the charging standard that things are shifting over to, and potentially in the future with full self-driving. So the real competition for Tesla is not other EV makers. Instead, it is the industrial combustion engines, the regular cars that are on the road. This will definitely impact sales versus those. All of a sudden, for many consumers, a brand new Tesla will be about $7,500 more expensive. And that is meaningful. That's significant. Now, in the short term, I think that over this quarter, just because people are thinking that this will go away sometime relatively soon, although we don't know exactly when, and we're not 100% sure on that, that this will drive sales forward. So quarter four should be phenomenal for Tesla, not just because it's quarter four, normally sales are good there, but also because it's a demand lever. So it pulls up some of the people that are thinking about purchasing a car early next year that's a Tesla. They say, you know what? $7,500 is what we get right now. We're just going to go ahead and do that right now. And so quarter four will be great. that may weaken demand. And I think that it probably will in quarter 1 and quarter 2. And it'll take a while for that new price without that $7,500 to normalize. The question is, though, when would this actually take effect? When is it most likely? Well, first, this is part of the tax code. According to the US Constitution, it is not the executive office under Donald Trump that holds the purse strings, but rather it is Congress. And as such, to be able to repeal this, it has to go through Congress. Now, of course, Republicans control both the executive branch and the legislative branches as well. So passing something like this might take some time, but it doesn't seem to be that difficult, although there may be some negotiation back and forth. But let's say that this is the way that it's handled. If it passes through Congress, when would it take effect? Rarely are these sort of things passed retroactively. In other words, if this passes in March, let's say, it's very unlikely that all of a sudden it's going to be retroactive back to the start of the year. More likely, it'll be effective maybe October 1st, which is the beginning of the next fiscal year. So this would be October 1st, 2025, or even more likely, just to alleviate some confusion on the end of consumers and also those that are selling EVs, it would be something that would be 2026. Now, in the meantime, Donald Trump could absolutely use the Treasury Department, which is part of his cabinet, to make it harder to obtain this EV tax credit. He can do things by interpreting some of the provisions that are in the tax code, such as the amount of materials that need to be sourced from the United States in a little bit different way, just making it very difficult for people to actually be able to qualify for the credit. And so that certainly can happen. It certainly is something that I'm considering since I own a Tesla and I'm thinking about getting another. And I know a lot of people are in the same boat as I am, that a lot of us are liking the Model Y, but really wanting that refresh and expecting it to come this next year. Of course, I think if they do launch it next year, which is likely, that'll have very good sales either way, but even more phenomenal sales if it is actually a fact that the $7,500 tax credit is going away, but people and consumers like myself are given at least until October or maybe next year to be able to make those decisions. If that's the case, Tesla will have a phenomenal year, but it will be a headwind once this is ultimately passed, especially the couple of quarters that follow shortly after that. So Tesla is also a stock that trades very much on a narrative, so keep that in mind. Even just rumors of this happening may impact the share price. Of course, it's doing the opposite right now. It's flying up, although it's settling down closer to $300. And no telling where we actually end up this next year. Hopefully, we'll get some clarification on that. But it seems for certain that the $7,500 tax credit is only going to be around a little bit longer. Now, with that said, where are you at? Are you considering purchasing a Tesla vehicle? And are you likely to accelerate that purchase if you find out that this is likely to be repealed in the beginning of next year? Or how do you think that this will impact Tesla as a stock? Is there something that I'm missing and overlooking? Please put that down in the comments. I try to reply to each of them. As always, thank you for watching, subscribing, and following. Really appreciate you guys through this journey and hope you have happy and successful investing.